time into the corner pocket. But look at how DIMAGA can really just keep these alive for a very long time, unless he hold positions one that will, of course, pop. And it looks like the Zerglings in Whitera's main are finally done. DIMAGA is going to be in a really rough spot, as there are 2 Stargates worth of Void Rays getting produced. How many Queens are in DIMAGA's main? Crazy. He's still just going 1 base, mass Queen, mass Tier 1 units, hiding some of them in the shrubbery. Now, Whitera is going to try to get up in here and try to poke at these Queens, because 1 Void Ray does kill 1 Queen. So 2 Void Rays, and Ash really will kill 2 Queens, but third one almost out for Whitera, and with, for DIMAGA, and with that transfuse ability on the Queens that will allow him to keep these Queens alive a little bit more easily. So Whitera is going to pull back, and will Banelings be morphed here? This would be a huge opportunity, as these Void Rays are out in the main. More Void Rays being produced by Whitera, who says, to hell with it, just going for a Fleet Beacon. Oh, please make motherships, Whitera. Please, pretty please, please. Either way, this is a hell of a transition by Whitera. No gateways. He says, who needs gateways when I can abandon my plan completely and just go air? It's a smart decision, but it's very hard to pull off. You have to be very careful not to just do it on a whim, to make sure that you are practicing this. And oh no, DIMAGA's going to lead this 1 Void Ray to all these morphing Banelings. Oh, poor DIMAGA could have had a huge bust on all of these cannons, and the Void Rays wouldn't have been able to kill the Banelings off fast enough. But here the Banelings come, and the Void Rays are going to have ample time to eat away at this Baneling number. Even though the Void Rays do kill those Banelings so slowly, the Banelings only have 30 life. So some of the Banelings will be able to reach the front. More Banelings being morphed by DIMAGA. Just wants to go for the huge push, trying to get up there. Will any reach the front? 2 manage to. And some of these Zerglings also sweeping in. More Banelings for DIMAGA. Loving these units. They are way stronger at killing buildings than most players realize. So most players go for just the 4-5 Baneling bust. But it looks like DIMAGA going for the 50,000 Baneling bust. Just as long as you keep making Banelings, can't have any problems. Unless, of course, you encounter those Void Rays. So DIMAGA is making more and more Queens. Has gotten a second Geyser for, believe it or not, more Banelings. And it looks like, oh, Carrier's coming out right now for Whitera. Wants more presence in the anti-ground department. Any motherships coming up? No, none at all. Just instead favoring to get all the air units that he can. +1 air weapons also getting researched for Whitera. Wants to have some sort of crazy counter recovery. An attack with Carrier is going to be almost impossible for DIMAGA to deal with, as he only has 5 Queens. Good units to deal with small numbers of Void Rays. Bad units to deal with those Carriers, as those Interceptors are quite vicious. And here comes a huge amount of Banelings from DIMAGA. Whitera trying to target fire him. They do so little damage. Those Void Rays do against the Banelings, and a few manage to get to the front, and all the cannons are orange. That last detonation didn't quite manage to kill off enough. And yeah, why make more gateways? You can just make more Stargates. Why not, right? And Carrier's finally up right now for Whitera, who has yet to attack his opponent. It looks like he is also getting the Graviton Catapult, increasing the Interceptor fire rate for those Carriers. Whitera finally completing that wall off that was destroyed so long ago. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, look, it's a gateway. I have since long missed you, dearest Gateway. And DIMAGA now has finally realized that he cannot win with Banelings. He needs to begin transitioning, very late transitioning by DIMAGA, as he's only just now getting a Hydralisk Den. But here comes the big Death Air Fleet from Whitera. No clue if he expected to do that at the start. And there comes some big... there's a nice transfuse on that Queen, but DIMAGA doesn't quite have enough air units trying to transfuse to keep these Queens alive, but there is a delay time on getting those up, and it looks like with this one Spore Colony firing away, it will not quite be enough for DIMAGA. So DIMAGA is trying to find some way to defend. Is he making a Hydralisk? But God, look at Whitera's money. GG, DIMAGA ends up losing game 1. DIMAGA, who tried to do insane aggression against Into the Rainbow, went 0-2. And again, with the insane aggression here in the first game, didn't quite work out despite barely breaking down those gateways at the front and leading to an opportunity for DIMAGA to get into the main. Wasn't quite enough, couldn't materialize an advantage out of it. So with that, we will be going on to game 2 of Whitera against DIMAGA in just a moment.